Hey guys, this is John. All right, unusual video here. I just got done with about a 3.5 hour stream, and there was a viewer of my Twitch stream, myteachersam. He has a Twitch channel himself, and he was really enthusiastic in the chat. He actually stopped streaming because he wanted to watch me stream. And afterwards, someone linked me to a clip of him. He was professing his admiration for my videos and just his general enthusiasm for chess, and it was really cool to see. I checked out his Twitch stream after I ended, and he's extremely enthusiastic. And he said he's working on his game, and he said specifically he has problems with the Queen's Gambit, and I wanted to play him and offer him some advice if I could in this opening. So we're playing a mainline Queen's Gambit. This is a 5+5 game, and he takes on d5. Usually I take a move earlier because that cuts down on black's options slightly. I suppose on the previous move right here, after c takes d5, I could think about taking with the knight, but I'm going to play in classical style. So now let's just castle. He plays knight f3. There's also the plan of playing e3, bishop d3, and committing the knight to e2 instead. But playing the knight to f3 is okay. Usually what white's going to go for is bishop d3 all the same, castles, and play on the queen side, usually with this minority attack, b4, b5. Possibly the idea of outposting the knight will be in play as well. So playing knight e5. I'm going to go knight bd7. Bishop d3 is a good move because it takes away the natural f5 square. And now typically in these structures for black, you don't want to play the move h6. As tempting as that looks to attack the bishop, white will simply drop back, either to h4 or maybe even f4. And the weakness of the g6 square may come to tell. Okay, so he plays knight e5. Usually white would just castle there instead. Knight e5 is aggressive, though. Provocative move. So I think my teacher Sam's idea is if I take, then eventually there will be an attack on the h7 pawn. But what I'm looking at here is taking and then jumping into the e4 square. I could definitely consider that. So if he takes e7, I take with the queen. There's some trades, but I win the e5 pawn at the end, but I still lose h7, so I don't like that as much. g6 is my first instinct here, and I'm thinking I might play that move. There's some sacrifices on g6 that are possible. Another move I could play here is knight f8. Knight f8, and then possibly pivot with knight 6 to d7 and attack his knight. And knight e5 is interesting. I mean, I don't see a refutation of this move per se. It's probably all right. I just haven't seen it this early. Okay, let's play knight f8. Just reinforce this. This is the move I was going to play if white castles. It's the main idea of playing this rook e8 move. You make a square for the knight. The bishop may be free to go to a square like e6. Knight g6 can be played in the future. There's also the possibility of this maneuver going g6, knight g7, knight e6 rather, knight g7, so using the square that's opened up because the pawn has been pushed to g6, and then bishop f5. So I might do that as well. He castles. Okay, so my candidate moves here are either g6 or this knight to d7, looking for some trades. Both seem like viable options to me. Kind of leaning towards moving this knight back. I think I will. So looking to swap some pieces. We got h7 guarded. It looks like white has an edge right now, but pieces are going to be traded. And that's going to dissipate some of that aggression, that outward aggression in white's position. If he takes on d7, I'll take with the bishop. And I'll be curious if my teacher Sam goes for this b4, b5 idea, or if he's aware of this plan. Plays f4. So my thinking is the problem with that move is that it weakens the e3 square. So after f6, how is white going to react? Because if f6, knight takes d7, I can insert queen takes e3 check. Little in-between move. And my queen is a bit far away from home, but I don't think he can exploit that. And the other line is if f6, knight here, I can play h5. I'm moving some pawns around my king, but I might very well just win this pawn. So yeah, let's play f6. Always got to watch for those in-between moves. So yeah, knight takes d7, take. Yeah, just take with check. Just checking if I, for some reason, want to take here first, but I don't think so. Yeah, got to go in with check. And now I'll take here. So I banked a pawn, and also the d pawn is loose. You can't play a rook to e1 because I would take. And not only do I win 2 rooks for the queen, but also that'll just be checkmate at the end of the line. This is his back rank problem. So if I were white here, I honestly think the way I might play it is to let black take this pawn, but try to gain some sort of kingside attack. Yeah, like rook f3, I don't mind that decision because, okay, I can take another pawn, but at least he's trying to shift some pieces over to the attack. And I think I'm going to take it. I don't see any reason not to. I actually have the h3 square covered, which is nice. So take. If he had a major piece on the d file, I'd have to be concerned about bishop takes h7, but he needs a move to shift something over there. You could play rook d1 maybe. I think in that case I'll play queen here. Plays f5. Okay. Yeah, instinctively I don't like that move for him because it blocks his bishop. I'm thinking about just rook in. Look for a swap of the rooks. I think I'll do that, and then I'm looking to get this other rook in the game. He does somewhat restrict my knight. Can't go to this square or this square anymore. But I feel like on the whole, f5 is a net negative move for him, blocking his queen bishop. It's very late at night right now, by the way, or early in the morning, however you want to look at it. It's almost 3:30 a.m. I don't know that I've ever recorded a video this late, actually, but had a really good stream today. I played a 100-game bullet match with a GM. This GM, Win Z, also known as Song Lo. Very interesting style. And I also played the Pro Chess League earlier today. We ended up winning our match. Okay, h3, he makes Luft. Useful move. Now, this knight is, as I mentioned, out of the game. I don't see any productive way to try to trade at the moment, so I'm thinking about just getting the knight in the game. But how to do that? I'd have to play like h6, knight here, here. Something along those lines. I almost thought for a second I could go to h6 immediately with my knight. But I think I'm going to... h6 or h5? Let's play h6. So just trying to sneak the knight into the game via the king side. He's doing a good job of managing his time. You can see he's ahead on the clock compared to me. And he is streaming this game right now. But yeah, that f4 move I think was optimistic. I think perhaps he should have just traded on d7 and we go from there. Attacks my queen. I'm thinking about just centralizing queen e5. Yeah. Influencing both sides of the board. Not really threatening anything, but some pressure on f5. Keep control of the e-file. And I'm going to do this next if given the chance. He goes here. So maybe he's trying for knight g4. But okay, I think I can continue with my plan. If knight g4, queen g3, and then rook e1 comes into play, also maybe h5. Yeah, I'll go here. He could play rook f3, rook e1 check, bishop f1. Then his bishop is pinned. It doesn't look right. I think I just back my queen off to say, well, not e5, d6. And that should be fine. e5 would hang the queen. Let's not do that. So my teacher, Sam, you mentioned that you need practice in the Queen's Gambit, and I take it you're a mainline d4 player. One book I would highly recommend is Starting Out 1d4 by Jonathan Cox. He's an English IM, and I actually learned my d4 openings from that book. And it's been very useful. Even as a master, I've gone back to it many times. It explains a lot of the core ideas of d-pawn openings, especially the Queen's Gambit. Okay, so he's guarding e1. Again, I think knight g5 is productive here. Now f3 is guarded, and maybe h5 becomes an idea, or even someday a sacrifice here. So I think queen d1 was a little too passive. Admittedly, the position was already difficult for white, though. Because now this rook is chained to the first rank. As if rook f3 is played now, rook e1 is simply going to be good. And also, I'm covering the f3 square. This bishop, it is out of the game. It'd be nice if I could somehow transfer it to this diagonal, but that's not a huge priority. I think I can make inroads doing other things. He plays a3. Okay. So I'm thinking of h5, but h5, knight f2 will be played. And then h5 is loose there. I'm also thinking about knight e4. Sure, that move's fine too. I don't see knight takes h3 really causing him too much trouble here. You know what I could also do? Kind of like this move. I'm going to play rook e7. It's kind of a sneaky idea in mind. Something like that. Just curious how he'll adjust to that. Because I've got such control of the game at the moment, I don't think I need to hurry at all. Maybe if I want to make sure knight takes f6 doesn't bother me after bishop h5, I could even just play king h8 next move. Or king h7. So we're both getting down on the clock here. This is 5+5. Always tougher with commentary, right? I mean, I know I probably talk too much in these games, but sometimes I can't help it. Okay, queen a4, so he's going on the offensive. So rook e1 was kind of my default move against this. But I think I'm going to hold that in reserve for a move. I don't know, actually. Nah, let's play it. Let's play it right away. Because I can pick up his bishop if he takes. And he does have this pressure down here, but yeah, being able to pick up the bishop and then come back to e4 should just end the resistance. Anything fancy with knight f3? Nothing that I see. So I think just take that bishop off. Yeah, he takes the pawn. Okay, I can take this guy. Take that one first. And he can take here, but maybe then h5. And I don't think his a-pawn is nearly dangerous enough to cause me any trouble. And in fact, that knight might be lost close to it because knight e3, I have queen f4. Okay, he goes there. A couple different ways to play it, but I think I'll just centralize. Again, kind of looking for that. He can attack my bishop now, but okay, he does that. Now I'm going to pick up the knight. Okay, so that's the game. And as I said in the opening, I think this knight e5 move, it might be playable, but surprisingly, it just leads to some trades a few moves later. I'm not sure knight f8 is even best for me. It's possible something else is better, like maybe g6. But this seemed all right, because the knight is such a nice piece on this square, holding h7. And I think at this moment, Sam, you should probably just take my knight. Maybe even move back to f3, but let's say you take. You could now launch this so-called minority attack, where you go rook b1, with the idea of pushing the b pawn, looking to go to b5 and weaken the structure. The end goal, let's just say some standard moves like this are played. The end goal is to give me a weakness on the c6 square, this backward pawn, that you can look to put pressure on in the long term. The only other thing I'd say about the opening is you might want to look into this plan of going e3. This is what I've usually done. So let's say e3, bishop d3, so keeping the knight at home for the time being. Because once black goes for the structure, you can play knight ge2. Knight ge2. This is the plan that Botvinnik helped to popularize. And Botvinnik's most well-known student, Garry Kasparov, former world champion, he also had great success with this line. And the key difference is, compared to knight f3, you're not blocking the f3 square, so you can look forward to playing f3 and advancing in the center with e4. Very common plan. And white scores extremely well in this line. I think black's probably okay with decent play, but it's a fun line to play. Definitely a plan you should be aware of. This is also talked about in that John Cox book. So, yeah, after all this happened and we got the trades, f4, and I think after f6, you're in some trouble already. I don't see how you hold the pawn. You could play knight g4, but I was thinking about this h5 move, or even knight b6. I think knight g4, knight b6 with my bishop attacking here is also pretty good. f5, h5, it seems like you're going to lose that. And I do like that you were willing to give up a pawn. That f5 move, as I mentioned, I think, it looks like it cramps me, but it probably just takes away too many opportunities for you. And the position is, just losing. But thanks for the game, man, and thank you for the enthusiasm that you've shown for my videos and the support and whatnot. And good luck on your chess journey. I'm sure I'll be seeing more of you. So, all right, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.